Welcome to Stu and the Nunn, an online radio show and podcast focused on national security, policy, politics, and selfless service. We're here to give you an honest opinion, a different perspective, and hopefully a few laughs. We do this by not only interviewing guests, but also sharing our own perspectives and asking you, the listener, to interact with us on the show chat room, via our Facebook page, and on Twitter. We would like to thank those who make this show possible and allow us to bring to you our show sponsors, Warrior Media Solutions, BlueHammer.com, Mighty Oaks Warrior Foundation, Graybeard Publishing, and of course, Sheepdog Response. We would also like to recognize some of our favorite nonprofit charities who are doing great things for those who have served this country of ours. Veterans Outdoors, Mighty Oaks Warrior Foundation, PinUpsForVets.com, and the Lauren F. Bernard USS Arizona Memorial Foundation. To learn more about these nonprofits and how you can donate to their awesome causes, visit our website at www.stewandthenunn.com. And welcome everyone to another episode of Stu and the Nunn. I want to also recognize our other sponsors. Haven't updated all the audio yet. Red Rum Sport Fishing in Cabo San Lucas. Gear for Grunts. Commodity Outdoor Development Group. BlueHammer.com. Thank all those, our fans, our listeners, viewers, for supporting us as you do. Here on April 21st, the day after Devil's Lettuce Day, 420 as it's known, very popular. And welcome to Stu and the Nunn, a show that's lasted longer than CNN Plus. So we got that going for us. So yeah, you know, we don't even need Chris Wallace Defector to come over and join us. We got our good friend, many time past guest, Mr. John the Wolf Wagner. Hey, John, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Troy, thanks for having me back on. Great to be here.
Yeah, I had to get the CNN Plus thing in there. I mean, that was just way too topical. It was too easy. You know, they didn't even last as long as a Jeffrey Toobin Zoom call. I mean, it was that's
hey, I've had more appearances on here than Chris Wallace had on CNN Plus.
That's true.
You know,
that's right. We can just keep this going. Yes, that's right. Boy, talk about a slap in the face. But anyways, that's okay. You're here with us tonight, our viewers and listeners, everyone watching and listening along with yourself here on Stu and the Nunn. Toby is back in the deep southern studio and taking care of some business down there, just swamped with running multiple businesses. So John was so nice to join me tonight. We were talking before the show. There is no shortage of things to talk about. So we are expecting to have a filled hour tonight. Maybe it goes over a little bit. I don't know. So just strap in, get ready for the ride, and we're going to get after it. So first and foremost, obviously it is April 21. I want to kind of cover something personal, John, if that's okay. I want to say, yes, it is. I'm coming out of COVID recovery. 2 years of slipping and dipping.
Recovering COVIDholic.
Yes, that's me. Go natural immunity. I'm all for it now. 2 years. It had hit my family. It hit my house. But I had never either I was asymptomatic or whatever. But you know, I was out there traveling, doing things, not wearing a mask anytime I could, you know, get by without wearing it, and you know. Apparently never caught it. I don't know, or maybe I did because people have caught it multiple times. But I did last week. Was stricken, which we did not have a show last week. Partially was, you know, I only had one bad day of symptoms. I know people have had all kind of different variations. You know, this Omicron one, I guess, is what I got. I don't know, but you know, I got a lingering cough. So if I do cough a little bit tonight, I apologize. But it was pretty much just one day of a flu feel. If I had not known about the word COVID, I would have thought I had a 24-hour flu bug. It was achy and a little bit of headache, you know, kind of just painful joints, kind of heavy in the chest. And that was about it. And then the next day I was fine, and I pretty much worked all week. A little tired. Like I say, the cough has gotten worse after. I've even retested myself, and I'm totally negative, which I expected based on all the CDC science. But I'm glad to be on the outward of that, not having bad reactions, and now building some great natural immunity, which all those shots were trying to replicate for all these years. So
now if you can only document it and add it to your card or something, there's space on the card to say, hey, I've actually had this, Wong Fung flu or whatever they want to call it.
Yes, if they should let you put a check, like, a little punch on there or something like that, and just,
Yep.
Not that we look at cards anymore, but and now currently no masks are needed in planes, but depends on which airport you're in. Yeah, all that's kind of behind. None of that's fashionable anymore. But I know a lot of people had different variations, and it struck people, and it struck people that were super healthy, and it hurt them, if not killed them. There were people that were, not great health that came out of it just fine. It's all over the thing, but it's because our bodies are all made different, and they're exposed to different things through our life. I kind of chalk mine up to all the shit that I breathed, got shots of, and ate in my time in the military, just made and drank, if I must be quite honest, probably helped build me a tolerance up for a long time. I'm chalking mine up to that, whether that's real science or not.
I'm going to say you probably had a mild version of it somewhere in the past. It's almost impossible. I mean, I had it. I had the antibody test, and I tested for it. Strong showing of having the antibodies, but I never had any symptoms of any kind.
Yeah.
So I could never pinpoint when. I never missed work. Of course, I was working from home most of the time, like most people. But there was nothing to ever say, this is the time period you may have had it. Never could find out.
Right. Yeah, my house was full of it early on at the very start, and I never got anything. We didn't quarantine. I didn't shove anyone into a room. We still sat and ate together, slept, all that kind of stuff. And I just kind of chalked myself up to what they were saying. There was some big percentage that was asymptomatic, and maybe that early version I was. I don't know. I know I was going to go early, not early on, but within the first couple months, I was like, well, I'm pretty sure everyone in my family had it, so I should go get one of those antibody tests. And I remember calling my doctor saying, because at the time they had to refer you to get one. And I was like, hey, I want to get one of those antibody tests. And they're like, well, let me read you this disclaimer we have to read you. And they pretty much, to paraphrase it, said, the antibody test is not really accurate. There's not guaranteeing that you have had it or haven't. It's not 100% for sure, but do you still want it? And I was like, well, if it's not anywhere near accurate, then why waste my time getting a needle stuck in? I'm like, I can just say I had it.
And they were like $120 back then, right? So why waste the $120?
Right. I'm like, why sit there and just say, well, I can just say I had it and I was asymptomatic. It's as accurate as a test you're telling me may or may not be accurate. And then so I waited a while, and then about 6 months later, I was like, I had to have had it. I'm going to finally, and by then I think it was free. The government was paying for everything, right? So taxpayers were paying, not free. And I said, I'm going to go get one. And so I said, I want to get an antibody test. And by that point, you didn't need a doctor referral. You just went and scheduled it. And I went and scheduled it. And as the lady's drawing my blood, she's like, so have you been exposed to COVID in the last 90 days? I'm like, no, not that I think of. Why? I said, it's like 5 or 6 months ago. Oh, well, this is only good for 90 days. I'm like, when did that change? Oh, wait, now they've determined it'll only detect if you've had it in the last 90 days. I'm like, then it's probably not to detect anything because I don't think I've had it in the last 90 days. I was around it like 6 months ago. So she's like, well, we're drawing the blood anyways. And sure enough, it came back, no antibodies. I'm like, well, that goal line just kept moving. So I just forgot about it after that and said, I'll deal with it when it happens. And, well, it happened last week, and we quarantined, did a little Uber Eats, a little ordering in, and just held to ourselves, and everything's...
Well, now that we have to figure out how long does the natural immunity last, because we still don't know that.
Right.
Because as everybody well knows, everybody gets a flu almost every year, right?
Right.
The different variations and stuff. But how long does the natural immunity to COVID last? We have no idea yet.
Right. And all these different variants.
There's nothing that I've read or heard about that indicates, well, it's 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, anything.
All these different variants, like different variants of flu, it's going to change. I've gotten flu shots in the past, and I got a flu shot for a different strain, then I traveled somewhere and picked it up. Or, I had it, and I had little sniffles, and I kind of went, well, I guess my flu shot helped out. I don't know.
There's 2 new variants coming out.
Right. It's like, it's like technology. Every time you think you caught up with it, something better's come out. The
iPhone of the flu variants is what it is.
Yeah, it's like I got the latest with 3 lenses. Oh no, there's a 5 lens one out now. Dang it! like I can't keep up with it, you know?
There's a new one with tint control.
Yeah, it's got 4K screen. It's like, man, I always I can never keep up with the cool kids. But yeah, it's thank you, Doug. Yes, feels like the first time. There you go, a little foreigner reference. But no, it's if I get it again, I guess I get it again, and you know what? I just keep putting my faith in the Lord, and just say what's meant for me is meant for me, and try to take my vitamins, keep going to the gym every day, and you know, I can't run from it. I can't hide like terrorists. I'm not running from it. I'm going to live my life, do the things, try to be clean and you know, not shove germs in my mouth, but still just live my life.
Do you take D supplements or anything like that?
I started when I got this because I knew that was a big deal. So I did. I was taking it.
I've been on D for a number of years through the VA. That's one of the things they prescribed to me, is to take D vitamins. I'm pretty convinced that's been helpful. I won't say it's the entire solution, but it certainly hasn't hurt.
Yeah, our good friend Chuck, he always claims he's on the D, but I'm not sure he's talking about vitamins. But anyways, I don't know about that. We'll leave that up to him. But anyways, yeah. So no, I did take it. I know magnesium and zinc and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, it is what it is. You move on. You know, I'll get other sicknesses and illnesses and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just glad Chuck is even in the chat, so I'm glad I ripped on him a little bit. But you know, I will we'll deal with it when it comes. But I had the first go around. I figure I'm good for some immunity, natural immunity for a while. As long as I get past this cough, then I'll feel much better. But yeah, on with that. So COVID is here and gone, at least for me. And I hope it is as minor, if not more minor, for everyone else. And everyone I've been talking to lately have had the same kind of reactions. No one has had anything bad, which is good. Thank God, thank goodness, right? Thank God it's not as bad as it was early on. That's obviously what we want. So yeah. Anyways, all right. With that gone, kind of got that back. Rob, tell me, yeah, I know the cough lingers. It's kind of annoying for sure. Want to talk about a couple things. That was my kind of first topic. Hit on that. I want to give you a chance. We'll kind of bounce back and forth on topics and comment on that. But I want to give you a chance to kind of talk about anything you want. Like you said, we have a lot of things we could fill 8 shows with. It's on you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Hey, can we talk about the thing that I wanted to lead off with tonight? And it's about something on a veteran.
Absolutely.
And I want to get this kind of out of the way because I'm hoping we can get some help from listeners and some advice out there. I don't have the chat up in front of me, but if you let me know if anybody pipes in.
Yes, I will. I'll be watching the chat.
Okay. Over the past week or so, week and a half, I've been trying to work with a veteran who was an actual free fall instructor at the free fall Master Blaster course down in Tucson, Arizona area. His name was Peter Levy. And Peter had some injections for shingles. He tried to get the shots that you can get to prevent the shingles. And he had these last fall. Well, for some reason and somehow, the poor guy had a reaction, it appears, to the shingles. And he has now what they call axonal Guillain-Barré syndrome. And he's basically locked into his body. He is on a ventilator. He's at the VA in Tucson. And his 81-year-old mother, Ellie, is down there trying to help tend to him. The only family that he's got in the area. And they have been wondering what to do with him. But the Tucson VA has said he's got to go. Can't stay here. I don't know why. They said he can't continue to receive care in Tucson. So they wanted to bring him home to the Buffalo area, up there in your neck of the woods, Troy. And what's been going on with him is the doctors in Tucson have been talking to the doctors up in the Buffalo VA. Buffalo VA says, no, can't bring him here. We don't want him. We can't have him. We can't support him. Which don't understand. That's where his family is. Right. So they contacted Buffalo General, and Buffalo General said, okay, we'll take him. Well, let's get him up here. If you can get him here, we'll accept him. Well, about an hour ago, I got a call from his mother, very teary, and also from his son, Alex, who's down in Virginia, who said, we got sudden news that Buffalo General will not accept him now. They will treat him wherever he happens to go. They'll provide the doctor, but they will not take him as an inpatient at Buffalo General, but no explanation. Nobody can figure out what the reasoning is behind rejecting him. Now, I also can't understand why, if the Tucson VA is currently, treating him and providing care, why the Buffalo VA has said, nope, can't bring him up here. Sorry, we don't want him. Or why they won't help provide care even if he goes to another facility. Because last time I checked, Mission Act should apply here. As you remember, Troy, I was a principal deputy assistant secretary at the VA for about 4 years, and had heard of cases similar to this, but nothing quite this dramatic. The family was able to secure transport at their expense, considerable expense, to bring him up to Buffalo. They thought they had a home for him at Buffalo General, but as of tonight, that rug has been pulled out from underneath former Navy vet or Navy veteran Peter Levy.
Real quick, Buffalo General's given no explanation at all.
None. Nope. And nothing in writing from the VA in Buffalo either. I spoke with the gentleman who actually wrote the law for the Mission Act, who actually penned it, and he provided me some explanations. Saying, nope, there is nothing in there about it having to be service connected or anything like that. If he is receiving care, if he is in the system, he is eligible for Mission Act care, which means if the Buffalo VA cannot provide, or even the Tucson VA cannot provide care, he can go out into the community in the best interests of the veteran or the patient. That's how it was written. And so far, I've not been able to get an explanation out of the VA on why this situation exists. And they haven't been able to provide it in writing to the family. It's all been verbal.
Does he need a long-term care facility, or is a hospital the more appropriate?
From what they have told me, GBS, as it's called, is typically not a permanent condition. It is a long-term condition, 18 months before recovery starts. There's no guarantee of how much he can recover from. That's all over the map. But typically, they aren't in his fully shut-in state on a ventilator for more than 8 months to 18 months, which is, hopeful news. But in his case, they don't have any indications of any, uptick yet or anything. They're hopeful, based on histories of others with it, that he'll recover from it, at least partially, or at least enough to be able to care for himself. What I'm asking is if anybody out there in the Buffalo area or anybody still connected with the VA, unfortunately, based on my prior administration ties, nobody wants to talk to anybody from the VA from back then, these days, trying to get this veteran some care and some help, or at least a solution. If you know of a long-term facility there in Buffalo that would be willing to take him, they can help provide the care. I would greatly appreciate it.
Let me ask you real quick.
Yeah,
let me jump in here real quick and ask you. So you said, because your previous time with the VA, you were appointed under different administration, and people here now won't talk to you there. But I mean, I would imagine at the top levels, the appointees, the politicians of the VA are one thing. It would seem like doctors down a level and administrators and things like that, which aren't necessarily tied to a political appointee, would be open to, unless they're being told not to, right? Are they being told?
That is a topic for another show, my friend. I will bring somebody on that will talk to that exact item. But yes, you're right. You would think that patient care and, of course, Hippocratic Oath, do no harm would be the way to go. Not in this case. Yeah. Hopefully soon you'll have my friend Brooks Tucker back on here and some others that you've had to talk about the current state of the VA and how they keep going over and refusing to adhere to the law in the Mission Act. I have a feeling that 2014 situation is brewing again, and that we're going to see something break that's just going to be terrible. I won't go into the details here. Like I said, that's a whole other show. But we see indications that something's coming.
So let me ask you real quick. So our good friend Chuck does mention a couple organizations. One I know I'm not even going to repeat, but Clear Path for Veterans in Syracuse. He says maybe them. I'm not familiar with Clear Path for Veterans, but Chuck did just put that up there in the chat. Thanks, Chuck. So let me ask you this: with the as midterms are coming, and we expect there's this assumption that there's going to be a massive changeover in both houses of Congress. Will that when that happens? I mean, I know the VA has an appointed head already by the administration, but is there any chance that with the both houses get flipped over to the GOP, that they can help hold the VA accountable back to the Mission Act?
Yes, and they plan on doing that. Yes.
Okay.
As you know, in the House and the Senate, they each have a committee on Veterans Affairs.
Yep.
And those currently are supposed to be co-chaired, but we all know how items go when you're not the party in power, because this is supposed to be one of the committees that there is supposed to be, no, right aisle, left aisle type of scenario. It's supposed to be for all veterans. But they keep fighting on, different ways of approaches, and what should be or what will be, the emphasis and the priority. So when that flips over, you can bet that there will be a more redirecting of accountability at the VA.
And I'm not super familiar with the members of those committees, but I'm going to assume, based on past history, that most of the members have typically been past veterans that are now in members of Congress. Is that still the case? Do they typically appoint
most
veterans?
But not all.
Right.
Not all, certainly.
Right.
But many have been, and that's certainly a focus for many veterans that are in Congress to serve on the committee, if not chair it.
Right. So he's stuck down there. It is ironic that we have this connection to Western New York, where I'm at, that his mother's from, and he's stuck down there. Buffalo General. There's a lot of hospitals here in Western New York. There's the Sisters. There's the Catholic Charities hospitals, Catholic Health System, which has 4 or 5 hospitals. There's a number of them around here. Has the family tried to reach out to any of them, or was just Buffalo General the first one outside the VA they were able to get a hold of? Do you know? I'm just bringing up ideas because of the large number of hospitals.
The VA went to approach several hospitals, as I understand it, looking for those that have axonal Guillain-Barré syndrome experience or clinicians that practice at their facility. And as I understand it, Buffalo General was the only one that would step up and said, yes, we have clinicians here on staff that are familiar with how to treat this condition. It's exceedingly rare. From what I've been able to determine from the family, the shots for shingles that he got may have been the cause for this, because he was fine, healthy. Like I said, he was a free fall expert and instructor, and that was how he made his living, a professional free fall diver. Can't believe it. Talk about a dream job.
Right.
To get paid for falling out of airplanes. And he started getting these symptoms, and he had three subsequent visits to the VA there in Tucson. Nothing happened until finally he went back in ambulatory, unable to breathe on his own, and had to be put on a ventilator ever since. So if there's somebody out there or people know of, we greatly appreciate that. That's what I've got on that one for tonight, Troy.
Yeah, a sad story. Hoping we get a good ending out of this, and you're able to keep us up on what happens.
I will keep you updated on what develops with this. I'll have some calls and work to do tomorrow to see if we can gin up some support.
Yeah, I think you and I talked about this last week. I think it is. I know there's a long-term care facility over near Rome, New York. I don't know if you've had a chance to reach out to them, but I know of another veteran who is suffering from ALS, who the VA put into that facility, and that's a long-term care facility. Even though I know this isn't supposed to be permanent and he should recover, obviously that length of duration for GBS is still going to take a while, right? It's
sadly it is something that will take some time.
Yeah, I have a number of folks that watch your show, listen to the show, friends of mine that are tied to different parts of the medical community. So I'm definitely going to make sure they listen to this and see if they have any insight and stuff. And they're all in the New York area, so hopefully we can match something together. But yeah, definitely, I learned a lot about after you told me about it, about GBS and all that stuff. And I would agree. It sounds like you get a shot for shingles, and all of a sudden you have this. That kind of almost implies that's the trigger. right? But yeah, and I don't know, if that has. Do we know if shingles, if that shot has caused the same syndrome before? Is it?
Don't know. Haven't heard anything. There's going to be definitely going to be an inquiry on what the causality or the causations of this may have been,
Right.
and that's certainly something they're going to be looking very strongly at.
Right.
He had the 3 shots related to the shingles, so over a period of like a week.
Okay. Wow.
And he did not have anything related to COVID prior to getting this either. He hadn't had COVID shots or boosters or anything like that around the time he had the shingles shots.
Okay. That's it'd be interesting if it was like a combination of the two colliding or something like that. But by the way, I also want to say I really like your Rush Limbaugh gold microphone. That is, I wanted to tell you that beforehand. That is, that's a nice throwback there to the Rush, the great gold microphone. So
every time I do an appearance on Zoom, that's the first thing somebody asks me: did you get that from Rush, or did you buy that because of Rush?
Yeah,
it's a Christmas present. It just seems to fit the personality or something. I don't know.
There you go. Yes,
gold mic.
You're our very own Rush there. Yeah. So on to a Chuck sent us some info to either me or you. By the way, he's saying in the chat. So thank you, Chuck. On to some other topics. Since we're in the state of New York, or we're talking about New York, I do want to hit on this crazy case out of Queens. I don't know if you've probably heard about this lady that they found this 51-year-old mother stuffed and cut up in a duffel bag, in a hockey bag. A blood trail tracing from her back to her house. They made an arrest today of apparently a ex or whatever jilted lover or whatever / handyman. Which just goes to show you don't cheat. But apparently he and her had an argument in the basement, and they're saying that's where the murder happened. Crazy case. A lot of things coming out of New York. People shooting up subways and people hacking up people and then dragging them down the street, just leaving a trail of blood. Going on in New York City. I'm wondering at some point, are they going to realize that maybe the bail reform laws really aren't working the way they intended to, because the crime is just continuing to get worse in New York City?
Have we seen what they've set the bail at for that gentleman that they nabbed for this?
No, I haven't. I hope they did send him bail and didn't just give him a notice to appear before the judge. But I think,
or slap a cuff on him and say go home and stay in your bedroom.
Luckily, it is considered the bail reform doesn't apply to violent felonies, and that obviously stabbing someone 58 times would probably, I'm sure, measure to violence. So I don't know what the bail is, but I did see that they did arrest him today. Released more evidence, and they got other pictures of him and so on and so forth. Someone be so out there in the fact that they can just calmly, hack someone up, stab a child there.
It was solid. There we go. Did you come back?
Yeah, I had a little bad connection, it looks like. Sorry about that. Hold on a second. Okay, it looks like maybe our Facebook videos paused for a second. But it's just crazy that someone could be so brazen to do something like that and murder someone in the house with their own child in the same house, and then just shove them in a bag and drag them down the street. It just, I can't comprehend what someone's in someone's mind when they're doing that. But you still there? Did I lose you?
I don't know. This it's just shown how far backward New York has become.